I think the gray area with LADCs in private practice is that DHS is not regulating us. So they're not going to come in and enforce regulation like they do with their licensed programs that they're charged with. Instead, they've turned over that responsibility to the insurance companies.
Behavioral Health Integrations podcast strives to inspire the next generation of mental health and addiction specialists. Our aim is to continue to raise awareness and encourage collaboration in the mental health and addiction industry so that it will continue to thrive. There are numerous approaches to treating mental health and substance abuse issues. On this show, we take pleasure in showcasing the diversity of these approaches used to improve the lives of others. So without further ado, your host, Jacob Menig.
It's hard because I'm reading this Taoism book on group counseling and in life, and they say the best group counselor is one that doesn't get involved in the group. The group is the group, and you need to let them take over. And I get the concept, but as an LADC counselor, it's you can't just let the group take. There's just too many variables. Even though that's a great way to think about it, but it's you need to have some control over the group and the progress and where the group is going, I guess.
It depends on the stage of the group.
Yeah.
And it depends if this is an integrated group and you're, what you're doing that day with that, or if this is just strictly a CD group. They're two very different things. The psychotherapy group and the dynamics involved with that and stages versus just a straight sub group, two very different things.
But as an LADC now, we have the ability to choose who we take as clients, right? Remember, there's a Yalom video about him doing really good group psychotherapy, but the knock on him was, okay, but he gets to choose the clients he has in his group. So he chooses the right clients for his group. And in a traditional treatment center setting, you're not getting that ability to do that. You're working with different clients, different personalities, different needs in that group dynamic.
Well, you can't discriminate.
Right, absolutely.
So now I'm starting to think about Medicaid rules and insurance rules and things like that. There are some rules around this, but in general, how I navigate this is if I think a client is not clinically appropriate for my skill set, then I'll say that or refer out.
Right.
But I need to be able to justify it.
Now we're definitely going to get into this later, but the SBIRT, which allows you to work with the client because you may not know if you can or cannot handle him or her or individual. And that's why that system was set in place, so you could better figure out the client and their needs.
And refer or treat. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, Aspert. This is a good thing. It allows us to do a screen, right?
Should we go over what that actually means? Because there's 3 steps or 3 phases, right? Screening and then brief intervention.
Yeah. Let me pull it up on my end, so I'm not lying to you.
And referral to treatment, I think. No, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And the reference guide is actually on the group website under files, but and there's a training for it too. But if you just look at the reference guide, it's a quick sheet. I think you get everything you need from that. So screening, brief intervention, and referral to treatment are the 3 billable categories, right?
Yep.
So it allows you to screen for a substance use disorder. We're not mental health, substance use disorder. And the state so much doesn't really care what screen you use. They're going to say use what's clinically appropriate for the circumstances. But I'm seeing language now, from Blue Cross Blue Shield, that's giving a list of screens they prefer you to use. I would say if you use that payer, pick something from that list because you don't want denial of claims later.
Is there an audit? There's one called the audit. There's Cage.
Audit. Yeah, I use audit. AUDIT. Yep. Cage Aid is a common one because those are free. Right, so a lot of our EHRs or EMRs are going to have that available.
Some are of higher quality than others. I think Cage is just 4 questions, right?
Yeah, that's why I like it. So my process is I will set up a 15 minute Zoom with somebody first to do that 4 question screen, get their demographic information, find out why they're being referred, tell them a little bit about how I deliver services, and then let them choose what they want to do. if they want to move forward with, and then those notes along with that screen get billed under an expert code, depending upon how long. There are 4 different codes depending on how long the session was. And then if they decide that they want to move forward with the assessment, I'll schedule the assessment at that time. And then we move on with the process.
Well,
right?
can't you do screening first, right? So let's just say you want to do all this before the comp that same day. So it's just like the screening is like 15 minutes, right? Then after that, they won't continue. You could do brief intervention, right?
15,
and build that for another 20 minutes.
Well, 15. So sorry, 15, 30, 40. Wait, that's not right. Expert is 15 to 11 minutes.
Yep.
15 to 30 minutes. Yep. And 30 or greater. And it breaks down 15 to 11 is $11.63. 15 to 30 is $25.55. And then what is it? About $40 for the longer one, 30 minutes more. So
can you do all 3 of those, like an hour and a half, then do the comp the same day? It's gonna be a long ass time to be with the client, but you could build like 4 services the same day.
I don't think so, because
they won't let you.
Because if you're doing a logically thinking, if you're doing a SUD screen, and then you do a comp on the same day, well, the payer, or it's not going to be DHS because they're not going to check, but insurance companies will. They're going to say, but you're doing that in the assessment too, so now we're paying twice.
Is it against, like, what? Okay, do they say we can't though?
I'm going to have to go back. I can't answer that directly. I'm going to have to go back and look at the language. But my guess would be they would view that as kind of double billing for services, because the comp assessment has a screen in it, right? So why would they pay for 2 screens in one day if you're getting the same information, right? If you put your shoes in the payer's shoes, right? Feet in the payer's shoes. So what I would suggest and how I do it is I do that first initial appointment on one day, and then schedule the assessment for like the next day, or as soon as possible. And then that also gives me time to like make sure everything is set up in the EHR, if I need to get other releases or get collateral, or like get all that other stuff we have to do completed. Well, let me get back. I'm going to go back and look, because I could see some advantages of doing both on the same day. So let me go back.
I think I did though. I think I personally did, to be honest with you.
Let me go back and check the facts.
I did the screening and I did the comp assessment the same day.
Okay, I'll go back and post it. Did they both pay?
I'm trying to think what client I did it with. I'm trying to think if I did it with the MA client or if I did it with the Hennepin Health client.
I'd be curious to know if they both paid, because like with SUD codes and mental health codes, if you bill 2 billable services on the same day, if that's not allowed, one will deny, right?
Okay.
So I'd be curious to look at your billing to see if they both paid. If they did, maybe. So let me go back, look at the language, and I'll post the answer later on this.
Or can you just do the 3 screenings and do the comp assessment like a couple days after?
The 3 screenings.
Oh no, you want to do the 3rd one because you're going to keep them. So wouldn't it be referred
just
to
one screen?
No,
one
2.
Screen.
Screening and then brief intervention.
Well, I mean, the brief intervention would be the whatever you're doing, referral to treatment or whatever it is you decide to do at that moment, right?
But you can't. Well, what if you're undecided? So you do the screening, brief intervention, and you need more time to think about it. You could still bill those 2 screenings for that day, and then decide if you want to do a referral the next day, or then a comp assessment if you're going to keep them.
Sure.
Or her.
Well, you're probably going to use some motivational interviewing in that time, right?
For the first day,
right.
And then wait a day.
You're going to motivate them to either go to treatment or
stay with me.
Right. So document.
And then we could do the comp, or if not, I could do referral treatment the next day.
Yeah.
Brainstorming. I love it.
Yeah. But this is a very good question, and I wish I knew. I'll post the answer later, so I'm clear about that. I don't give bad information out.
Okay. I love this. Love it.
Yeah, it's a good question. But yes, it before that we weren't able to do that. We weren't able to do an assessment and bill for it without doing the comp first.
Okay.
Well, now with direct access, with people being able to go to treatment centers and just kind of admit without having to go to an assessor first.
Yeah.
It makes sense for us to be able to just do a quick assessment, determine if they're appropriate for us, or refer them somewhere like where there's direct access or wherever.
I love the term you used a while ago. It's the wild, wild west still. From now to like 4 years ago, they still don't know a lot of things. So it's just like, do it until they tell you to stop, right? And that's not being ignorant or like greedy. It's just like, no, like, let me do my thing. And if it's wrong, tell me why it's wrong, then I'll stop.
Are we talking about DHS?
Anything, yeah, that we're doing right now as LADCs in private practice, we should do what we want. And if it's not okay or legal, then they could tell us and then we'll stop. They don't even know like half the like what they're doing yet with us, right? Like, especially when you started, they didn't know.
Well,
it's getting better. It's getting better.
At the beginning, they struggled with really the boundaries and the lines and how to explain that to us, right?
Don't you think they're still struggling to some capacity still?
No, I think they're pretty clear now.
So?
I think there are still a few open questions, but I'm working on it. I think that whenever there's a new law,
right,
you can try to predict all the possible pathways that are going to manifest from that law, but you can't predict them all. And so we're all learning as we go along, including the state. But generally, like, the state has been helpful whenever I have a question. Sometimes they give me an answer that's kind of not direct answer, but kind of gives me a hint on where else I could go with it. So I just try to read between the lines sometimes. And, I've done enough with the state in the past on different various capacities to know that sometimes their hands are just tied.
And again, people in my audience, I'm not saying we're trying to get away with stuff. Like the state, DHS, like they have a lot on the line here, and they want to make sure like clients aren't taken advantage of, and that LADCs are behaving like professionals, because there's a lot of professionals out there in any field, but especially arms workers. And I hope I don't go off too much on a tangent, but like unethical things. Like there are many professionals that do unethical things, and they need to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah,
like
so I think
billing without billing, let's say, like that's an example we talked about before, right?
Sure.
Extremely unethical. That happens all the time.
I think the gray area with LADCs in private practice is that DHS is not regulating us. So they're not going to come in and enforce regulation like they do with their licensed programs that they're charged with. Instead, they've turned over that responsibility to the insurance companies.
Yeah.
But the insurance companies are only going to care about auditing us for compliance reasons, right?
Yep.
And so that means clinical charting, billing practices, things like that, which is good. That should keep us, that's how the mental health providers are treated. As far as ethics go, DHS is counting on the Board of Behavioral Therapy to deal with any of those issues, right? So they've kind of like shot off those responsibilities in two different directions. That's just different than what we're used to. We're used to DHS kind of dealing with everything. So they're not going to have the answers to everything, because they're kind of redirecting that responsibility in two different ways to other entities, right?
Yeah. And again, I don't know, I keep harping on this, but the biggest thing we talked about in our first episode is just like the billing and document your work, because you will get audited, and if they catch you, they may give you a warning, or worse things may happen. So I remember you said don't do it. If you're going to bill them, see them and document it. Don't lie about it.
Oh God, never lie. Never ever lie.
But it happens all the time. Like again, not harping on arms workers, but they've been known to do that a lot. Bills or PCAs, they bill for services they didn't do. And they make a lot of money, and they get away with it though. Well,
it's not
some.
They don't forever. They eventually get caught. I mean, there are audit processes that are in place that are systematic. They catch these things eventually. What I will say about billing, and we kind of talked about at the beginning, that billing can become stressful and a headache, and most people are afraid of it. And certainly I went through my learning experiences in the beginning.
It's not as bad. Sorry.
That's okay. For LADCs in private practice, we only are eligible to bill Medicaid products. So that includes the PMAPs, all the PMAPs, MA, behavioral health funding, and Ryan White funding, which is administered through MA. So, well, the great thing about Medicaid funding is it's prepaid, right? So those claims pay within a couple weeks. We're not waiting a month, 2 months, 3 months for payment. And and they pay at 100%. There's no copay, there's no co-share, there's none of that BS. So we're not tracking down clients to pay their portion. So for me, since I don't take commercial insurance for that reason, I never have to deal with copays, co-insurance, things like that. The only thing I have to deal with is if a claim denies, why did it deny?
Yep.
And usually it's because we coded it wrong on my end, or
wrong names.
Yeah, we coded it wrong.
Or there could be a lot of different things. Like one I'm going through right now, it's really irritating.
Right. Or the contract wasn't in place and we thought it was, or
Yep. Headaches.
The caveat with that is if you are, so I do mental health too. So I do have the capacity, capability of billing, and I do some mental health. I do have the ability to bill commercial for mental health. So it is possible that I could end up with dealing with copays and co-insurances if I did accept a client with commercial. I think it's happened twice because I try to stick with the sub clients the most. But it's possible. That's a different side of it, and a more nuanced conversation.
I also want to do a shout out to like all the future LADCs in private practice. Like billing may be scary, and that's what I thought too. And again, I talked to Robert about this before. I got to work on my positivity because like I did not consider myself an owner until I officially got paid. Even though I was, I'm like, no. Like I need to start making money, then I'll consider myself finally an owner. And I was petrified of billing, and it really annoyed me when I told people this. They're like, "Oh my God, Jake, you're so brave for doing billing. It's gonna be so hard, but good for you." It's like, no, like I cannot afford it. I can't afford to start like pay a billing company $500 a month or percentage.
6%.
It's like, no, I'm not brave in that regards. I can't afford it. So that's why I got to do it on my own. But now that I'm actually doing it and I actually got paid, like, it's really not that bad. Not to like scare people away. It's really not that bad at all.
It's not. And what I ran into was I used a billing company at first, but the problem was most billers are used to dealing with mental health billing.
Yeah.
And they just could not get their heads wrapped around sub codes.
It's the H200 and
the H codes, right?
H codes, yes.
Yeah, and that was before G codes, Esper, God forbid.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was I went through, I think, 8 different billers before I finally had to learn it myself because I wasn't getting paid for months. And it was all because things were getting misbilled. And then finally I just said to the owner, this isn't working. And she agreed. She said she couldn't find anybody who could figure it out. And I'm like, it's not that, it's just a different code, but they just couldn't get their group consciousness. They couldn't get their head wrapped around that I was just a little different, just different enough, that things had to be different on claims.
I give all of you so much respect for doing it because you're paving the way for us LADCs to like have it easier.
Well,
thank you for going through that.
Open. Just be open to it, learn it. It's not that hard. Once you get it set up, right? Once you get your EHR set up right, your clearinghouse set up, and electronic payment reports enrolled, and your contracts are in place, and you learn how to, submit a claim correctly. That's all there is to it. Once it's all electronic, it's not that hard. The system does the rest if you have a decent system.
Yep. So,
and you have a decent system.
So I was going to do the segment on like, what would you do differently? But I think this is a perfect time just to bring up like what I would do differently regarding the clearinghouse. One, it took me forever to like wrap my head around, oh my God, billing. What the hell is a clearinghouse? Why do I need it? One thing I would do differently, I would have waited to get the clearinghouse a couple of months because I originally thought, okay, I got MA, I'm good. I should start racking up clients. Or even I had Hennepin Health too. And I thought, I'm good. I'll get the clearinghouse, but I still had no clients right away. I must have wasted like at least 2 to 3 months paying for a clearinghouse that when I had no 2 months at least. So I pay $50 a month for a clearinghouse. So maybe 100, 150. I wasted because I thought I was going to get clients, but I didn't. And I didn't even really know how to use my clearinghouse properly when I did get clients right away. So my advice is wait a little bit on the clearinghouse until, I don't know, because I don't want to put anyone down. You could get MA and get clients right away. I just didn't personally.
That is a very good point. Why pay for a clearinghouse and billing if you could just bill it directly through minutes, which is free.
Yep.
So you could manually put through claims through the minutes portal, which is the state portal, right? Which is free. The only thing is then you'd have to go into your EHR and manually post those payments. But if you're just starting out, you got time to do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's great. And the
Right.
same thing with, well, for MA for sure. MA for sure. So yeah, I mean, why spend money if you're not ready to spend it?
Right. And again, that was my mistake. I'm letting my audience know, like, that's what I would have done different, is maybe wait a month or two rather than, again, being super excited. Oh, I need a clearinghouse. I gotta get a clearinghouse right away. It's like, hold your horses. There's no need to get a clearinghouse if you don't have any clients. You'll have time. I mean, because I don't think, like, I think you just like sign up for an account on the clearinghouse website, give them your credit card
Yeah.
information, and it takes like a day for them to set everything up.
Usually clearinghouses, usually your EHR, EMR will have a preferred clearinghouse that
Yep.
they work with. And they'll
That
try
too,
to
yes.
enroll you in that at the beginning of your EHR, EMR setup, but you
Yeah.
do have the choice of saying, nope, not yet,
Mhm.
right? But you
Yep.
kind of gotta make that clear because they're gonna try to enroll you in everything right away.
I was afraid of that. I thought, like, oh
Mhm.
crap, I can't just, because I just thought get a clearinghouse, and I used the options they gave me, but then I learned, wait, some EHRs don't take certain clearinghouses, so then you waste your money.
Right. And
Oh, it's
some
ridiculous.
clearinghouses don't take all the payers, which I learned
Yeah.
the hard way too. I ran into that with Simple Practice with one payer in
Mhm.
particular.
Right.
That was the first EHR I used before I converted over to InSync, which I use now.
Yeah.
So you do, when you're looking at EHRs, EMRs, you do want to make sure that whatever you choose, the clearinghouse you choose, it takes all the payers
Okay.
that you're going to be taking without any issues, right? That
Mhm.
from the time you submit the claim in the system,
Right.
the time the claim gets transmitted out of the system to the clearinghouse, gets scrubbed at the clearinghouse,
Mhm.
sent to the payer, and then back again, and then back through an electronic payment report into your system. All
Right.
payers need to do that, right? On the all Medicaid payers, including MA, without any issues. That should be like one of your number one questions when you're
Right.
shopping for EHRs. Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. Oh yeah. So I want to move into a different segment of, and we got into this before. Yes, it sounds great. LADC, private practice, you can make good
Mhm.
money.
You
In
can.
your opinion, in my opinion, like, we can go off of, like, who should or should not do a private practice? What qualities do you think would be really good for someone to do private practice? And what type of individual maybe shouldn't do a private practice even though they can?
Wow, we go a lot of different ways. So let me start with, I think, what's one of the most important things,
Yeah.
ethics. I
Okay.
think you have to have a really strong ethic background. And what I mean
Yep.
by that is education in ethics,
Yep.
understanding ethical models, how they work, how to use their frameworks,
Yeah.
and how to apply them, application and conceptualization. When you're faced with an ethical dilemma, how to apply that model to
Yep.
help you come to the outcome or resolution, right? I think that's so critical because you don't have a supervisor anymore that
Right.
kind of facilitate that model for you. So understanding ethics really well, and then being an ethical person. I
Yep.
know we should be. If we have a license, we're supposed to be anyways, but mm, I've seen some things. We all have.
Yes. Boundaries
So
too. Yeah.
yeah,
Boundaries
so
and
ethics, and not being afraid to ask for help with ethics. Like if you belong to an association, right,
yeah.
like NADAC or one of the other groups, which you should,
Yeah.
then leaning on them with the harder ethical stuff if you're not sure. That's what they're there for, right? That's what we pay
Yes.
membership dues for. Um, so you got to have a strong ethical.
Can I piggyback off you, Robert?
Mhm.
That's one thing I'm kind of going through like now. I've always had maybe respectful, but maybe too rigid of boundaries with clients where it's just like I want to be super safe and protected. Where now I'm texting with my clients, but again, I'm using a medical like app with a
Mhm.
different number to again better communicate with my clients. So
Mhm.
like I'm getting used to just texting my clients at certain parts of the day saying, "Hey, can we meet today instead of this? I'm running a little late, this or that." And it's weird for me personally because I'm not used to texting clients at all. Like
Mhm.
I always stayed
Mhm.
away from that. It's like you call me through my office phone, that's it. That's like, or email me maybe, and that's it. Now
Right.
they have my email and they have my facility number through the medical app, and I'm
Mhm.
communicating with them It's just, for me personally, it's different. So it's like
Well,
learning how to communicate with clients and then setting boundaries with them.
yes, I think having consistent boundaries. There's nothing wrong with integrating these new ways of communicating, because I think that's how the generation went. But and it does say something about you being more meeting them where they're at, but holding real good boundaries around this, and healthy boundaries, flexible enough to continue meeting their needs, but consistent. It's going to be super key. Me too. I use Spruce Health for my messaging.
Me too. Yep.
But I find it much easier using that HIPAA compliant messaging app to message a client something real quick that I know they'll see at some point, versus me having to schedule a time to make a phone call to, right?
Right.
And half the time their phones are off anyways, and only their messaging is working. So what do you use, by the way? I'm just curious.
Spruce, like you.
Okay, you are. Okay,
yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
that's where I have my fax number too in there. And
right. What you don't want to do, though, is like engage in interventions. So you don't want to engage in counseling or therapy on your app, right? It should strictly be for simple things like a schedule change, things like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. It's very convenient. Like you could be like late in traffic, and you're gonna be like 10 minutes late to your appointment. So it's nice just to text the client, "Hey, are you okay with 5:30 instead of 5 or whatever?" Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and then you could save the appointment that way, right? I mean, private practice, we only get paid if we could bill. So if you could save that appointment, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to balance that too. You don't want to encourage them being late all the time either. But if it's just something that randomly happens and you can move something around to make something work, why not?
And that's something I may be struggling a little bit. Again, going back to my original argument back early in the episode, consistent. It's okay if you do that every once in a while, but your clients may feel some sort of way if you're rescheduling every week. Even if it's maybe like a half an hour every week, you got to be consistent. And that's something I got to work on too. It's like you can't keep getting like busy in traffic. You got to start planning ahead so you're professional and you're like there for your clients at the appropriate time. And if you keep switching times, that's not displaying healthy behaviors for them too.
No. It's really important. The clinician. So
that's something like I need to start working on.
Yeah, you do.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but it's good that you have that insight and you know that about yourself. I mean, we all have stuff we can work on, right? It's not one of my areas, but believe me, I have my areas. But yeah, being consistent with your appointment times is important. And, as you transition out of more, out on your own, maybe that'll be easier for you to do.
Yeah.
So just keep working on it. That's all you can do. You'll be all right.
And another thing I want to bring up too, again, we're not going too far off topic, but again, good qualities, right? I remember when we did our first episode and we were talking about like LADCs who may or should not do private practice is bad time management. They're not very organized. And I'm thinking to myself, oh God, those are things I need to work on. Like, that caused a little fear in me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not the most organized person. I'm not good at time management. So that made me a little weary at first.
Well, you need to be able to organize yourself enough to run a business.
Enough is the question, because everyone's enough, again, is different.
Right. And in areas, and I learned this the hard way, in areas in business where you're not the subject matter expert, hire somebody, contract it out. I mean, I hired an accountant to do my accounting. I hired an assistant to do all kind of like some of the phone calls and, things that I'm not so good at or I don't have time for. Like, know your areas and focus on your strengths, and it's a business. So that's okay to do. If sometimes we need somebody to hold us accountable, whatever you need to do. But yes, you need some organization. You need to be consistent with your clients. You need to be ethical in your billing practices. You need to be able to build relationships, not just with the clients, but in the field.
Because you're not going to get clients. You're not going to get clients.
If you can't get clients, then just forget listening right now. You're done.
Right. Exactly.
What's the point? You're not going to be successful, right?
Bad reputation. You might get a bad reputation if you're not good with people.
And your reputation in the field is going to be super important to protect and to strengthen. And You want to be known for positive things, not negative things. So if you struggle with relationships and building relationships, and you struggle with people liking you and things like that, you might have a harder time. May not be the pathway for you unless you get help with those things.
One thing I wanted to do, and then again, did you see the Johnny Depp Amber Heard court case? Well, there's like a psychiatrist that didn't do the best job in the stance. He also acted kind of goofy. He wasn't really professional in his language. So some people wrote really bad reviews on him, even though they never even worked with them, and that could severely hinder a therapist's reputation. So again, to all the clients out there and all the people, if the therapist did something horrendous to you or the counselor did, then by all means, report them, do a bad comment, but just know what that does to that professional. It could really hinder their 1-2 bad reviews and you could be done, because people are going to read that about you.
That's why I don't have a Google thing.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay.
I'm not worried about reviews. But
also Google could be good marketing, right?
Presentation. Google what?
But Google could be used as a marketing tool for therapists.
Oh, for sure. And
so it's like good and bad. Google. It's a risk.
Yep, you're going to be using Google for marketing. Absolutely, you can't escape it. Trust me, I tried.
Because you can have a client in a bad mood or whatever, and an impulsive decision, post a bad comment about you.
Yeah. So presentation's always important, right? I mean, people are always. That's the first thing they see is your face, your reaction, how you look. Right. We know this as mental health professionals because we constantly assessing it with the MSC. So know how you're branding yourself,
right?
Because you are a brand once you have a business. Whether you want to admit that or not, you do become a brand.
Oh, 110%, 110%.
So maybe think about it that way if it's helpful for marketing.
Yeah.
How do I brand myself, and then how do I stay consistent with that image?
Okay.
Absolutely. Because word of mouth, what people think, all that matters in this field, especially this field.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, building good reputation with the clients, your fellow peers, it's such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another avenue I was thinking too, because again, we can have that impulsive decision of like, okay, I got my 3 years in. You look at the numbers and you can make an extremely good living being an LADC in private practice once you understand like the taxes, the reimbursement rates, like it's really good. Like not like outing numbers, but if you have a good sized caseload, you could probably again make $2,000-$3,000 a week, give or take. Not everyone.
Easy.
And that's a lot in 1 week.
Yeah. So I don't want to get into exact numbers. I did that last time, and then afterwards I thought it's really I should keep that private. But you can figure this out yourself. All you need to do, go look up the CCDTF rate grid online, right? Google that. It'll show you the rate grid of all the rates, hourly rates for the H codes. Look up the expert codes. You could do that through the group Facebook page. And then sit down, do the math. Think about, okay, how many clients I think I can handle a week?
Right.
And of those clients, how many times will I see them for individual a week, and how many hours a week will I see them for group? And ballpark it, right? And do what's realistic, and then use your math.
Well, can we do something right now? Let's say as individual session, 31 minutes or more, you're making like around what, 77, 71?
72.11. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And groups are 33-ish.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, about that. 33 something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you can do like a bi-weekly calculation, and those numbers are really enticing. I'm not gonna lie. Like compared to like the LADC making 50-60 grand a year. Whew, that's the reason to get out for some people. It's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. What I would add is you want to also keep in mind that you're going to be paying a 6.8% provider tax to the state of Minnesota. That's separate from your state tax and your federal tax.
Right.
And then you're going to be paying your state and federal taxes. And depending upon how you're incorporated, that's going to vary a lot. When I first started, I was incorporated as a
See?
single member LLC,
Yep.
and I was paying double in federal taxes than I should have been. Now I'm an S corp and I'm paying a lot less. But lessons learned, I didn't know that,
Right.
right? Until I got the tax bill and I'm like, what is going on?
Exactly.
And that's when I got a new accountant and then she explained it.
Um,
Lessons learned.
Another thing to be aware of, though, tax write-offs. Be aware of tax write-offs. That's why, like, a lot of people are like, I'm talking to a lot of business owners, like my stepdad and other people that are like, oh, be aware of tax write-offs. That, that's something.
What do you mean?
Like things
Like, what is he
they're
cautioning
tax
about?
write-offs for your business. Like, let's say you use a computer for your business, a
Sure.
printer, all that stuff is like, tax write-off.
Well, this is why it's important to have an accountant. And,
Yeah.
I think I pay $120 a month for my accountant to do my monthly books, my quarterlies, and manage my QuickBooks.
When do you think it's okay? Because when you just start out, accountants are really expensive. Or they can be.
Yeah, I think when you start, getting to the point where you can afford one, you should. Right?
Like you're making like an okay living or
when
like
things start getting, I mean,
consistent
yeah,
flow, consistent flow.
consistent revenue. Yeah, because you
There you
need to
go.
be able to account for that revenue and its flow.
Like
where it's
example,
going.
you're 8 clients a week, they're consistent, you do groups consistently, you're getting consistent checks in the mail, you're confident.
Yeah, when there's a revenue flow, yes.
There you go.
And when you have that accountant doing that, like, because I have that, I can email her anytime and say, can I write this off? Can I not?
Yeah.
Quick answer, right? And then if I buy it, she knows how to categorize it. It's done. And then they also do my payroll because I'm an S corp, so they put me on a salary too. But find a reasonably priced accountant that is responsive, because that was the problem with my first accountant, was they were not responsive because I wasn't big enough. Is responsive and has the good bedside manner and knows what they're talking about, right? And can help you figure out like what's the right tax structure for me up front. Things that they should be doing is like every year they should be going over your financials with you and goal setting for the next year. They should be going over your quarterlies every quarter and telling you, we need to adjust tax rates, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. They should be, categorizing your QuickBooks and making sure you're when I accidentally spend money out of the business checking and it's personal, I get nasty emails. They're not really nice. They're actually nice about it, but I get an email. It doesn't get ignored, right?
Right.
They'll say, what's this? And then I'll explain, well, it should have gone, it should have come out of the personal account, and then they'll fix it, right? So that's so critical, because when the day comes when the IRS audits you, you're going to wish you had that in place.
Well, it's good to know your options, right? Like
it's a business expense anyways. The other thing that this is kind of irrelevant, but I think is important, once you make, a certain amount of money, you can't, like for me, I don't qualify for like any health insurance subsidies or anything on the marketplace anymore. I have to pay full price. But if you own your own business in the state of Minnesota, that premium every month is a tax write-off. So that helps a lot, actually.
Steph, we have our first. I am wondering if LADC informed me she didn't want me to do private practice, so she did a 245G license instead and found it to be more lucrative. Is this a thing?
Okay, so 245G license. Well, sure. I mean, a 245G license is a group license. It's a group insurance contract, right? So basically, as a program, you get a contract from the insurance company. The program has the contract. They can take professionals and credential them on or off that contract, but the billing is happening under that contract, right? And so are the rates different? No, but depending upon like how she's reimbursing you. So sure, because usually if it's a licensed program, they're getting that whole claim, and then they're going to pay you an hourly wage, or they're going to, I don't know if they can legally pay you a percentage, but I know I've heard some organizations doing that. I just, that's a little bit, I'm not sure how legal that is, but they could pay you an hourly wage, and that equates a lot of times to a percentage of that claim, right? Of course, that's going to be more lucrative to have a 245G license on the billing side of it for the purposes of just the claim collection, right? How much they get that whole claim, and then they get to decide how much they're going to pay you. If you were in private practice, you're billing under your license, it's your insurance contract, you get that whole claim.
There's a 245G. Like that means like you need a building. You got to hire like LADCs,
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot
all
more
that
regulation.
stuff. I mean, it's a lot of responsibility. A lot of responsibility.
You've got to have a program director. You have to have staff. You have
to
like,
trust that program director, supervisor, that they know what they're doing.
Maybe.
I mean, you know,
I'm just joking.
No, it's funny because like I've had like people I try to help saying like, hey, I want to do a treatment center. Well, one, I am not the guy to talk about like the process of like getting a treatment center, the policies you're gonna need to put in place. Like there's so much work that goes involved in it. A lot of work. I mean, it's great, and I'm not gonna lie. I always kind of wondered how much do those owners actually make, and how do they determine like how much to pay each obviously professional, like treatment director. You know, it's not uncommon for a treatment director to make 6 figures. You know,
usually, yeah, it's a high stress job because think about it. That program director, when DHS comes in and does an audit, they're the ones held accountable for everything that goes wrong in that audit.
Right.
With the 245G program, you know, the new waiver and all that, the program has to structure itself exactly how DHS outlines in the statutes. And it is very detailed. It's basically a template for how treatment programs have to run, right? And you have to follow that. We don't follow 245G at all in private practice, with the exception of clinical documentation. That's the only thing we're compelled to follow. Everything else we follow 148F, the old rules, 148F statutes. That's what we're compelled to follow. So we don't have to have a program director, staff, peer recovery support.
Again, want to thank everyone for tuning in to Laying the Foundations for LADCs. Want to thank everyone for tuning in to Laying the Foundations for and great episode from myself and Robert. Please stay tuned for a great episode from myself and Robert.
I just want to thank all of my listeners for your support. And just to inform everyone that the information expressed in this episode was not meant to be taken as therapeutic advice. If you do find yourself struggling with any type of mental health or addiction issues, please seek the care of a medical doctor or a licensed mental health therapist. And if anyone has any further questions for me, you can reach me at my email address, behaviorhealthintegration121@gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Jacob Minig, where you will find more educational posts on psychotherapy, trauma, and addiction. And finally, you can follow me on my website, which is behaviorhealthintegration.org. I also want to inform everyone that there is a great new device out there called CalmiGo. It's a breathing device meant to control and manage your breathing rates and the depth of your breathing as you inhale and exhale to, again, help relieve any type of anxiety and stress-like symptoms. And if you do put the BHI podcast into the promo code, you get $30 off this amazing device. It is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and you will not be disappointed. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.